in this video, I will show you how to give a checkmate with your rook, okay? So the idea of this is that we would like to keep it as simple as we can. And we can think of the rook, I mean, of course, a tower. It has a fence to the sides and the front, okay? And the idea is that we would like to push the king, the opponent's king, towards the corner and start closing all the squares, limiting the squares available for the opponent's king. So in this position, we would want to find a move like rook e3. The idea of rook e3 is that now we are giving all these squares available for the black king, and the idea is to make it smaller and smaller. So first we're starting off with a rectangle, right? Rectangle, and they'll probably get closer to our rook to try to trap it or something, or capture it. But we can just bring our king forward, defending the rook. If they just go back and forth, then we can bring our king up. Yes, because we also want to activate our king so that both pieces can work together. If they just keep repeating move because they just want to do a threefold repetition, just repeating the moves or the position 3 times, hence resulting in a draw. We don't want to allow that, so we don't repeat moves, but we're activating our king a little bit more. If they just go back again, now we can think of, we were closing these squares for the black king, but now we can just bring our rook up. And the idea of this is that now we're cutting the 4th rank for the black king, right? So now the available squares for the black king in this position will be a smaller rectangle, right? Before we had the extra 4th row here. And let's say if they go back to f6, we will just bring the rook up, closing everything down a little bit more. Now the rectangle turns into a square, okay? And we're gonna look at different positions afterwards, but let's look at this variation in this position, okay? So here, let's say the king goes to g7, and now if we were to move the rook one more time to close things down, they can just capture our rook back. So in this position, we just move our king forward. We move our king up so that now we have this move available in the future. Not yet, because if they just go back to like king f6 or something to repeat moves, if we go with the rook to e6 right now, they can just go down, right? So they don't have to go up. Here they would just probably go down and we have to restart everything all over again, you know? So the idea of this here, we can just bring our king up. So whenever we want them to make a move, we don't have to always make a move, a forcing move, or give a check or anything, but we can always make like waiting moves, activating our pieces a little bit more, okay? So let's say they go to f7, now we close everything down again. So it was a big rectangle, then a smaller rectangle, then a square, and now it's a rectangle in a horizontal position, and smaller as well. If they go up to f8, we close everything down, and then the rectangle turns into a line of 3 squares. If they just go to g8 or something, we can just bring our king closer towards the corner, okay? If they just go back and forth, we just move our king. If they go back again, now we can close things down. And now we're having them have 2 squares available, okay? So only move for them would be, because the rook is covering here the 7th rank, and also the f file, if they go to h8, we need to be careful, because if we go with rook g7, that game would just end in a stalemate because they don't have any legal moves. Gotta be careful here. So here, just like in one of the videos that we had with the queen checkmate, we are gonna give them 2 squares to work with for them to go back and forth, okay? So here we just bring our king towards the towards g6 so that they only have 1 move available. And here we have to do a waiting move, okay? Waiting move, just rook f6, rook anywhere in the f file. Only move for them is king h8, and now we can just give a checkmate with a rook here on f8 because the king is covering here, creating a background problem for the black pieces, and then the rook just finishes the game with a checkmate, okay? So here, let's go back to this position where we were, where the king was running away. And instead of f5, they actually go to g4. So instead of going up and making it easier for us or on us, they're gonna try to make you get confused. so that you can make some mistakes and maybe you're running out of time as well, right? And they can try to get a draw. So in this position here, if the king goes away from your rook and your king, you can just bring your king closer towards their king. And the idea of this move, for example, now we're covering these squares. Our rook is covering here the rank, the third rank, and now they can only have these squares available to work with. So what happens if the king goes to g5? Always remember that our king, in front of our king, we have 3 squares that we're covering, creating a background problem all the time. So whenever we have the king staring off at each other, or the king's like, looking at each other, we can always give a check with the rook because of the background problem. The king has to get out of this file. So it cannot move anywhere here in the file, has to go to the next file, which is good because we're pushing the king towards the corner or towards another file or rank, depending on the position. So here the king will probably go to like h4 or something, attacking the rook. We just bring our king closer, getting closer to the fight and also defending our rook. And here the black king only has 1 move to play, right? Because the rook is covering the third rank, the king is covering these squares, only 1 square available for the black pieces. Here the black pieces will just move there to that square, and here we can actually do a waiting move. Yes, because we can always try to bring the rook and stuff, or if we bring our king up to f5, they can just go back and forth, and we would have to like go back and forth. But here we have a nice little trick. We can do a waiting move. Rook g1 or something, just keep it easy for you, okay? Because we want to always consider the background problem that our king can produce. So here only move will be h6. What happens if the king goes to h4? Remember the background problem because of the 3 squares in front of our king. Here we can just finish the game with rook h1 checkmate. Yes, that's why they would just have to go to h6 to run away from the checkmate problem. And here we just bring our king closer, because if they ever move here in front of our king, we just give a checkmate to the opponent. And here they just have to run away toward the corner, and then we just keep following them. Corner, we follow them, and then just 1 more move available for them. Only move here, it's h7 for them. They have to make that move, and then we just finish the game with a checkmate in this position. I hope this video helps you a lot. Try not to fall in the cellmate, and I'll see you in the next video.